to me means total creative freedom, and it's something that gives me great joy. It gives me a sense of accomplishment when I finish an artwork, and the ability to have an open mind, being receptive to the world around me is very, very important to the creative process. This is what the insides look like, just to hold up the sculpture. This holds up this sculpture, this wall piece. My name is John Toki. I work out of the city of Richmond, California, and I've been here since 1972. And I have always worked in art, starting as a young child, but made the big shift into art when I was a junior in college. Presently, I'm working on 3 projects. I'm working on a fountain sculpture for the city of Richmond, California. It is a 10-foot tall, 3,086-pound sculpture that's going to go to the Family Justice Center in Richmond. Concurrently, I am also going to install a sculpture at the University of California, Berkeley Art Museum. That's going to be a piece that was first made in Holland and shipped over to my studio in Richmond, and then the city of Berkeley bought that piece through an art competition. So that's going to happen this year. And then my office work would be, I write textbooks. I've been a textbook writer of ceramic books for over 25 years, and so I'm working on the 6th edition of the book Hands in Clay with Oxford University Press. Egypt had so much history, and I was so incredibly taken by every little rock, every little stone, the pyramids. One got to learn about livelihood of the Egyptian people, and of course the Nile River is so incredible. And then you would see people with the donkeys and the horses, and the really a great feeling of history. My process as an artist, as a sculptor, well, it requires a lot of skills, and that is something that one really isn't taught in school. I didn't know that I had to become a plumber, a clay maker, a glaze technician. I had to learn how to pour concrete. I had to learn how to weld. These are things I learned on my own. And the studio that I have been in for over 45 years is really hand-built. And all those skills have provided me the necessary tools to manifest my sculpture ideas. My inspiration to make my sculptures are really drawn primarily from nature, and I consider myself a landscape sculptor. So there might be somebody who says, I am a landscape painter. Well, I'm a sculptor. Being able to use the ceramic medium, that very textural, visceral material, it's perfect for my ideas. And so what I'm doing is shaping clay into forms that are reflective of the, in this case, the San Francisco Bay Area mountainous forms. I love the sky colors, the pinks, the blues, the turquoise colors, and those have been much of my inspirations. Some of the challenges that I face in sculpting is just the physical effort required to build a sculpture. It took over 15 years for me to have the tools to be able to realize the ideas that I could see in my mind. I use drawings as a way to clarify the sculptures, so no lifting, it's just working out the creative ideas. Is artwork matched up as a career to technology, science, math, engineering, etc.? Well, I have an inside track on that. And the reason is because I have a twin brother, Walter, who is a physicist. In my family, art, science, technology, they were on equal terms. So I feel really fortunate to have had parents who were artists, musicians. My dad was also a businessman, very good painter. So I was surrounded by creative juices and creative activities growing up from a young age. If we didn't have art in our lives, can you imagine what it would like? And I think the best way to understand the value of art is if you took it away from us. Can you imagine if Saarinen St. Louis Arch didn't exist? Can you imagine if the pyramids of Egypt weren't standing? Can you imagine if we didn't have our beautiful Golden Gate Bridge, Jackson Pollock painting, Pavarotti's beautiful music? Can you imagine if everything was one color, that everybody was wearing the same color shirt, that all the birds and flowers were white or just one color? Artwork fuels the soul, and it's something that's very, very subtle, that is ingrained, and I think in everybody's psyche and their body without them really knowing it. The John Toki method was not having to really give up anything, because my method of arriving at where I am today is just choosing where I wanted to put my time. And so I pursued that. It's different for every person, but the John Toki method is not feeling like I gave up anything. It's more like going after my dreams and staying with the dreams. And in sculpture, my method of manifesting idea is not to look at how difficult it is, how long it's going to take, how horrible it is to get out there when it's cold and dirty and greasy and messy. That I'm out there looking at the end result in my mind. That's the finished sculpture. I think if you're in Europe, when I was working in Holland, if you said you were an artist, you were valued as an artist, like a plumber, a concrete contractor, or a tile setter. It was a valued career. The United States, I think it's a little bit different. If you say that you're an artist, it's often, how do you make a living? Not that you're an artist. And so that's one thing that I learned over the years. It's a different mindset. It's a different culture. How can an artist increase the perceived value of the artwork? I think in the end, if you think in terms of the artists like Van Gogh, he just made his artwork. He wasn't linked to a art scene. He just did his artwork, and his artwork has lived on. And so I like to use him as somebody who was purely doing artwork because he had to. Well, artwork's role for the future, I would say it provides mankind, the world, a visionary view of aesthetic life. And that's what I believe is really, really important in how art can really add to the quality of living. And artists are the futurists. I think personally that having been in art for over 40 years, that I know who I am, I know what I want to do and why I'm here. What would the role of art be for the future? That's a really good question. Where will we be with art as technology takes over? And I've watched it happen in my field of ceramics. Students are designing their artworks on a computer. There's a machine that can make the piece. It can cut out a piece of metal. It's just a tool. It's just a tool. What these things don't have is the mind behind that. I like to think in terms of a great violinist or a trumpet player. I think that would be a good connection to the visual arts. Well, that's the magic. That's the magic. The person behind it. That's not a tool or a machine. It's a human being that's making that sound. I feel fortunate as a sculptor to be able to take a lump of clay that's pretty primal. It's about as primal as you can get, and mush that little piece up, and then make something out of it. Make something that has a voice, that says something, that makes one feel. And it's also an activity that it mirrors the individuality. And I think that's something that is so important for humanity to understand, to have that ability to move forward in a life, to have that choice. The advice I would give to parents whose child wants to become an artist is one where you give them the opportunity to fulfill their curiosity, to be able to try something that they see in their mind without fear of failure, without fear of major criticism. Give them the opportunity to stand up and make something, fall down and make something, and get back up. This artwork is not an easy field. It's a huge commitment to do this. This is a hard process, sculpting. It's cold, it's dirty, long hours, your back hurts, you get up, and especially when there's no one to see you feeling that way. The finished product shows you the piece, but it doesn't show you the sweat that went into it. If you were to squeeze all that energy out of a piece, there's a lot in there of sweat and tears. It's all fun though. It's really great.